Guess it will help if I added myself to the stream. Yo, what's going on, good people? Gonna let some people get in here. Um, I guess it wouldn't be foots if I was running a little late. But it's all good. Hope you guys had a great day. We're gonna do something different today. Once the stream picks up, we're gonna do a live draft, and you guys are gonna help me draft. I'm gonna read off comments throughout the whole show, and you guys are gonna help me draft because I know the people watching tonight are going to be the people who, if nothing else, like y'all watching tonight, I know that I'm talking to my draft community. You get what I'm saying? What's up, everybody? Live stream is going up. Live stream is going up. I love it. I love it. I love it. And let me see if I can get Joe on here, get somebody on here. But we just gonna have fun. Just do some, just get some vibes going. Nothing too crazy. But I will say this: it's gonna be realistic. Now, in the midst of me watching NBA basketball, and I still have to get my linebacker rankings out for you. I'll be on with Sky during the draft, giving you guys live breakdowns. Everybody's talking about the 30 visits, and right now we're at the time of the year where people start, dare I say, kind of, I won't say overreacting, but forgetting why they had certain people, certain places. Um, and you got to remember a few things, guys. Film is king. So if the film makes sense, then because of what a player did at the combine, or and that definitely does add to it, right? But what he did at the combine has nothing to do with it. It's a different layer of, okay, security for yourself when you're drafting a guy. But if the film is right, and let's say he runs a second slower than what you may have thought, to me, go with the film, especially if you're a team that has a plan. So that's just me. I think that we're gonna have some fun tonight. Out of all of the 30 visits, and somebody in the chat give us who they all been. I've actually lost count of all the 30 visits because some of these 30 visits, like 15 could be real, 15 could be fluke, right? But out of all of the 30 visits, who do you guys want to see the most? I've seen that they brought in, or they were supposed to bring in Zay Flowers. They were supposed to bring in a bunch of people. Who do you guys want to see the most in Dallas? Obviously the connection, and everybody's talking about right now is Steve Avila. Love Steve Avila. Uh-oh. April bribing us already. April. Hey, this will get you a pick here. Doing it like this, right? I love Steve Avila. You gotta love April. April Showers, man. Really been with us for a long time. I love Steve Avila, but I will say this, and I said this when I was on with Scott. I don't know if I like Steve Avila at 26. If I'm drafting a guard in the first round, he better be Zach Martin. I love Jack Campbell, Jim. I would draft Jack Campbell at 26. I would draft Jack Campbell at 26. And people say, Foots, what do you mean? I think that Jack Campbell may be actually a better player, true football player, than some of these these receivers. I'll tell you another one. Drew Sanders is another one. And it all depends on how you grade certain players. I had to do something. Now we're talking about film, so this isn't the overreacting of the metric things, but this is the film thing. I went back and watched some Jordan Addison film when he was at Pitt. And you're watching him versus Clemson in the ACC, and you're watching him do some things. Jordan Addison at Pitt was a better player and put better film out there than Jordan Addison at USC, which is strange. Well, it's extremely strange because he had some would dare to say, a better quarterback than Kenny Pickett and Caleb Williams. So where was the disconnect? Was it play calling? Was it system? Was it pieces that they had. So anyway, um, just a lot to think about here, but I'm excited, and I really, to me, I, the only thing that I want Dallas to do is draft with a plan. And I think that they've done a good job in doing that. And so, if it's me, and this is just me, if it's me, I believe that wherever Dallas goes, all right, I'm texting Joe right, y'all. Sorry if I'm a little slow with the talking and trying to keep it and see if Joe wants to get on. If wherever Dallas goes, they have to marry that pick with other picks to where the whole draft makes sense. And Will McClay has done a good job of that. He has last year with Tyler Smith. Now you wanted Jalen Tolbert to be a little bit better, but he married it with obviously the rest of the picks in the class. Sam Williams, you know, attacking the DN position. So to me, you have to marry you got to marry your first round pick with the rest of the picks in your draft. All right, guys, we got 50 people in here. More people will come. Let's get going. I'm going to hold it down. And if Joe wants to get on, or if any of the big dogs want to get on, we'll talk about it. Let's start the draft. So, right now, the Carolina Panthers are on the clock. Now, we're not going to do trades, guys. We're just going to draft. The Carolina Panthers are on the clock. To me, I love the draft because what happens is people start to overreact to things. And we talked about that earlier when it came to the combine and this, that, and the third. Can you guys see the board? Just can everybody see the board? Just want to make sure everybody can see the board. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can all see the board. Give me a thumbs up, chat box, if you guys can see the board, because once we start rolling, we're going to roll. I don't see any thumbs, so I don't know if you guys can see the board. And I want to make sure that okay, cool. Thanks, y'all. Thanks, Texas T. Thanks, Ty Condi. All right, here we go. So, to me, we're not going to make this more difficult. Anybody who follows me on Twitter knows who I am, knows how highly I think of Bryce Young. Now, some would say CJ Stroud and his ability that he showed in the Georgia game is really interesting, right? Because with CJ Stroud, he's one of those players that is going to make every throw extremely accurate, but I just don't know how high his ceiling is. With Bryce Young, if you get it right with the right scheme and everything that he's able to do, I really believe that he has Patrick Mahomes' ceiling. I don't know if he'll reach it, but he creates way better than Tua on the fly and on the run, and he does those types of things better than a player like Tua. So to me, and he has a live arm. He just plays with eyes in the back of his head, but he's not a runner. And I'm sure there are trades all over the board, people that probably want to get in and this, that, and the third, but we're not going to do trades, guys. It's just too much. We're drafting Bryce Young to the Panthers. Now, Stroud has been tied to them. Anthony Richardson has been tied to them. Anthony Richardson, I like the athletic profile. I love all those types of things, but there's too many times when I'm watching on Saturdays that Anthony Richardson can't throw a 5 and out. You don't draft a player for one game at that position. And, scouts will come back and say, well, if you saw him do it, he could do it again. Yeah, but if you're drafting a player number 1 overall, the fan base, the organization, he better be clean and he better come in ready to go. And Anthony Richardson just isn't that. All right, number 2 with the Texans now. One of the things that we're starting to hear a lot of is that the Texans actually aren't sold on a quarterback, which is interesting. The Texans aren't sold on a quarterback. What do you guys think about that? The Texans aren't sold on a quarterback. And so if they're not sold on a quarterback, who could it be? Now, if I'm the Texans, you just don't know if you'll be drafting this high again. And this is one of the things that I said about Washington 2 years ago when they drafted Chase Young, 2, 3, whatever it was, some odd years ago when they drafted Chase Young. And I said, it's a huge mistake, huge mistake, huge mistake to not draft a guy. Now, that draft was Tua, it was Justin Herbert, and I get it, right? You love Chase Young, but the injuries, he still has the same amount of sacks that he had 2 years ago, and they're talking about not even renewing his fifth-year option. And this is why I said a defensive end will never change life like a quarterback will, guys. It just doesn't happen. As good as Micah is, if Dallas didn't have a good quarterback, what would Micah be? He'd be a great player. He'd be Myles Garrett on the Browns, right? What would it matter? You see what I'm saying? So as good of a defense and that a prospect, excuse me, that Chase Young may have been, was it worth it? And so to me, if I'm the Texans, you don't know if you're going to be up here again. I'm not letting CJ Stroud off the board. I'm not letting him go anywhere. The Texans go CJ Stroud. Now, this is where things get interesting. Arizona 100% could trade out of this pick. 110% could trade out of this pick. But I think they're standing in draft. And I think they draft Will Anderson because Will Anderson, to me, is the best player in this draft. Now, he's a non-quarterback, so quarterbacks are going to get boosted. And I do have Bryce Young as the second best player in this draft. But I think that Will Anderson is the best player in this draft. I think the measurables, the film, everything ties together. And I think that Will Anderson is the best player in this draft. Arizona gets a steal, and Arizona just has a lot going on. They need to draft good players. They need to draft good players, and I think that they've done that. I mean, I think that they'll do that with this player, and it makes a lot of sense for them. All right, the Colts have a new OC. Have a new head coach. Steichen comes in, was the OC for Philly. This sounds like and feels like an Anthony Richardson special. They can kind of run some of the same stuff that they did in Philly with Jalen Hurts, the running back quarterback. So I think that it makes a bunch of sense. What do you guys think? What should the Colts do? Let's get your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think the Colts should do at 4? What should the Colts do at 4? You guys let me know. What's a pick for the Colts? What quarterback is it? Levis? A sneaky one, guys, and I'm gonna tell you this now. All right, Hendon Hooker sneaky here. He is, because you'll talk to people who will say, "Man, Hendon Hooker might be more pro ready as a passer," and obviously he's older, and that's the running joke on him. Hendon Hooker might be more pro ready than Levis and Richardson. Might be more pro ready than Levis and Richardson. What are we doing, guys? Chat box, what are we doing? Colts 4. What are we doing, guys? Okay, we got enough for Richardson. They can come in, they can run some of that same scheme, zone read stuff. Now, the same thing applies. For my liking, and I'm going to go on record and say this, I want Richardson to be able to sit. I don't want him to feel rushed, and I don't want him rushed into the spotlight. Unfortunately, he's such a good athlete that he's gonna have to play early, and he's gonna have to make a difference early. And I don't know if that's fair, but that's what it's gonna have to be. The Colts draft Anthony Richardson. Now, this is what I was gonna say too about Arizona. Getting Will Anderson could probably make up for that Isaiah Simmons pick. Isaiah Simmons has played better, but Arizona probably thought they were getting a Micah Parsons type player in Isaiah Simmons. They haven't got that. Now, Seattle is super, super interesting. Has this pick from Denver, has another pick later in the first round. Seattle has a chance, guys. They could go quarterback here, get the Q of the future. But Seattle has a chance to become a dynasty just like that. They drafted that well last year. And whatever Pete Carroll was able to do, whatever he was able to say, to Geno Smith, to get him to actually play good football, that's a great coach. That's a great coach. They get Tariq Woolen. They get both of the tackles last year. Seattle is one of my favorite studies in the league. Um, to me, they could go guard. They could go Skoronski, kick him inside the guard. They could go just the best player available, who's Jalen Carter, who has some off the field issues. You get him with Pete Carroll, and maybe he's a smarter player. But if it's me and I'm Seattle, this is going to be one that may surprise people. I'm drafting Christian Gonzalez, and here's why. Now you have two lockdown corners. All right. And they have good corners. Michael Jackson is actually out there, who the Cowboys drafted, right? He's actually out there in Seattle. But now you have two lockdown corners, guys. There's a difference between having two good corners and two lockdown corners. Christian Gonzalez, Oregon, is just a flat out stud, guys. He went to the combine. And we'll talk about corners, right? Because corners are they're all over the board here as far as what people think about them. But the interesting thing about Gonzalez is when you saw him work out at the combine, it was a clear difference between everybody else. There was as far as DB wise, and it was good. There were some good corners, but Gonzalez was he was the guy. All right, let's get to some comments, everybody. Okay, cool. You guys are really interactive, and that's what I like. Make sure we keep the likes going, guys. We definitely gonna kill this show tonight, and this is gonna be, when I say we, us, all of us. Now, the Lions sitting here at 6. Another team who got some good early turnover and has been drafting well. And the Lions were like a sneaky team last year. Jared Goff actually played decent football. Jalen Carter could come off the board. The Lions are funny because they're another team where Hendon Hooker is somebody to watch here. They don't have to rush him on the field. Okay, Jared Goff, you still have him on your books. He can still play good football and then help develop Hendon Hooker on the way. And I think that Hendon Hooker is pro ready, but if you wanted him to sit maybe for a year, kind of grow into his role, that's something that that the Cardinals could possibly, that the Lions could possibly do. The Lions have become like a sneaky decent roster, and that offense was really good last year. They also traded away Jeff Okudah, so corner is somewhere that do they go corner? You guys let me know. I know this isn't a Lions podcast, but what do we like with the Lions here? And then we'll kind of breeze through a few more picks, and then we'll do a stoppage. What do we like with the Lions here? Their roster isn't bad. Again, they've been drafting well. Had the number 1 overall pick. Aiden Hutchinson is a star. Okay, Aiden Hutchinson is a star. Malcolm Rodriguez is it was a steal last year. Okay, then you look at their offensive line. Both really good players. Okay, Taylor Decker, good player. Penei Sewell, good player. DeAndre Swift, great player. Amon-Ra Brown, great young receiver. If you can get anything out of Jameson Williams, and then you have Marvin Jones, like the Lions, as you look at their roster, is not bad. But DB, I like what Albert Smith is saying. Let's get Albert Smith on the board. Thank you, Daywan Walker. Actually, let's get to Daywan Walker's super chat there. Thank you, sir, for that. And then thank you, sir, so much for that. Much love to everybody in the chat. Send this around. Albert Smith, I like what he's saying. They can use a CB, but Carter's there. And that, you know what, Albert? That's the tricky part, right? Do you make that defensive line out just unstoppable, right? Because we know that if you have Jalen Carter and Aiden Hutchinson on a defensive line, remember, guys, there's no more Aaron Rodgers in that NFC North. Like, the Lions may be trying to go get it. And you know what? We're going to draft a good player. I know that we need corner, but we're not going to reach. We're going to go best player available. That just makes a lot of sense for the Lions. Okay, one of the easier picks that I make all day. Will Levis to the Raiders. Just such a Raiders pick. Um, and that's just down on that. Now Falcons. With the Falcons, just a team where it's just like, what is the Falcons' direction, guys? Like, can anybody in the chat let me know what the Falcons want to do? Had Mariota, um, he didn't work out, and well, Marcus Mariota now he's actually in our division. It's kind of interesting because when you look at their depth chart, you look at Desmond Ritter, you look at Taylor Heineke, that's the quarterback position. Are you married to any of those guys? Desmond Ritter, you know, he's okay. I think that we'll see. They got a sneaky running back in Tyler Algier. Really physical downhill runner. I like his game. But then Kyle Pitts was hurt last year. And those of you who follow me on Twitter, you guys kind of know I said the day that Kyle Pitts was drafted, and I remember Cowboys fans were like getting all worked up over Kyle Pitts. And I was like, guys, it's a tight end. Like, he's just not going to affect the game in that way. The truth is, Kyle Pitts hasn't affected the game in that way. I like what Cowboy fan 112 is saying. They should have taken Fields. Maybe they should have taken Micah Parsons. I don't know. If you did a redraft, Micah Parsons would probably go second in that draft. But just wasn't good drafting. So now you're playing catch up and you don't know the direction. You like Ritter, but I'm sure you don't love him. I like Drake London and his upside. Still has to show more. And you look at the defensive side of the ball. Grady Jarrett's getting older. AJ Terrell's a nice young player. They did get Bates and Casey Hayward at corner. Could definitely use a corner. Could use an offensive line upgrades. Like, this may be where we see our first offensive lineman come off the board, depending on what you think about with Skoronski. Do they go left tackle here? Right? I don't think that I personally, and it's just me, I don't think that Skoronski is a tackle. I actually have now this is all funky and kind of messed up, but I have Broderick Jones probably as a better pro than Skoronski. Skoronski probably film was probably better, but when you project, is he a left? He's not a left tackle. So if he's not a left, the arm length scares me with Skoronski. Darnell Wright, is this a spot for him or Anton Harrison or Broderick Jones? We got to look at it and see. Receiver. It's a shame because they just went receiver with Drake London. But so we'll see there. DB. I'm not going to go quarterback. And I'm not going to go Devin Witherspoon. This is interesting, guys. Chat box, you guys make this pick with Atlanta, then we'll breeze through. That's right. I love it. Let's go corner. April Shan corner. Let's go corner. But I'm gonna say this, right? Devin Witherspoon isn't here for me. So we're not gonna go by PFF's module, guys. Love PFF, but we're not gonna go by their module. Joey Porter is corner 2, guys. He is. So the Falcons go Joey Porter Jr. Chicago's on the clock. Chicago, another team trying to build something around their young quarterback. Just pick anywhere on the offensive line and they could go. And we're going to get them some guard help. Peter Skoronski, you're a Chicago Bear. The Philadelphia Eagles. Now, they have a bunch of good choices here on the board. Filthy Eagles do. I hate it. They're picking so high. They were able to fleece New Orleans. So, like, I get it, and I'm not happy about it, but I get it. They were able to do it. What about Philly getting a corner? I know Gonzalez, that was a spot for them there. They've also fell in love with Bijan Robinson. Why? Because, Dallas has talked about Bijan Robinson so much that, of course, they do. We also know that Philly loves defensive ends. They love defensive linemen. Jordan Davis was kind of overrated to me. But I think that Philly probably goes defensive end. Um, um, the Jordan Davis pick was was funny because I remember saying this. I said if Jordan Davis is in shape, he's going to be a great player. But guys, he didn't really have the impact that I think people may have wanted him to have and would have said and 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 would have said, "Oh yeah, Jordan Davis is some great player." He didn't have the impact, but they're gonna go defensive end, and you know who scares me where they could go is here. But I'm actually gonna give them somebody who kind of plays like Brandon Graham, and that's Miles Murphy. Miles Murphy is a good player, uses his hands, can get off on the edge. I think that makes a lot of sense. Now with the Titans, it's almost like then it feel like the Titans are just in a soft rebuild, y'all. Like, traded away AJ Brown last year. It's been rumored that they want to get rid of Derrick Henry. Um, to me, with the Titans, I think Vrabel's an excellent coach. Actually, I know that Vrabel is an excellent coach. But, you know, and for those of you guys who are saying let's go back to the Murphy pick. For those of you guys who are saying that Miles Murphy is a reach, we've seen crazier things happen, guys. Um, I'll never forget when did the Raiders draft that defensive end four, and we were like, who, what, and he didn't pan out. I thought that last year drafting Jordan Davis that high was a reach. I really believe that because again, we all love the big fat one tech and we need them, but they don't affect the game in the same way. Go watch Miles Murphy's film. He could play, plays with hands. I don't think he's better than Tyree, but again, you know, you never know with these drafts, guys. Yep, it was Farrell. That's right, Clellan Farrell went number 4 overall. I'll never forget it. So you never know with these types of things, guys. That a player, hell, Brian Brzee could come off the board. Brian Brzee, he's from Maryland. Was a great 3 tech and has more juice as a defensive tackle than Jordan Davis does and can stay on the field. Now he had a bunch of things in his life going on, but Brzee could come off the board there. Let's go Tyree Wilson here for the Titans. I know they probably need O-line help, but could definitely use a defensive end that can help them. Vrabel wants to play defense, so that makes sense. With the Texans, I want to go off the board here. Jackson Smith and Jigba. Now he may be looked at as a slot only, but again, best receiver in the class to me. They need help a receiver. Makes a lot of sense. And you figure out ways to get him the ball in a slot in the middle of the defense, all that type of stuff. The Jets are on the clock at pick 13. Now, the Jets to me need offense of line help. So I want to go tackle here, but what tackle do I want to go? What tackle do we want to go, guys? Um, let's see. Let's get a Jets Paris Johnson. Nah, you know what? This could be one of those surprise ones. It could be Anton Harrison. It'll probably be Broderick Jones. He's flown up boards. Let's go Broderick Jones now. This is one that we need to watch. The Patriots. Do the Patriots now. Okay. We're talking about it. Let's look at him. No way he's this far down the board. It's already passed him. Let's see. Do the Patriots go here? And Bijan Robinson. You've seen it mocked there a lot. Okay. I don't know if it's a lock, but I can see it making some sense. Do they go corner? Do they go Lucas Van Ness? Lucas Van Ness seems and screams like a Bill Belichick special. What do you guys think? Do they go receiver? They might be burned on receiver. I like Kincaid. I like what you're saying, Reborn. Kincaid, though, guys, for a receiving only target, do you go receiver only tight end that high? Maybe. You guys know how I feel about tight ends. They just don't affect the game as though I would need them to. Um, ooh, this is interesting. I think we're gonna go Van Ness here, y'all. I feel like that's a Patriots pick. Although I'm telling you, watch the Patriots and running back. Watch the Patriots and running back. All right, Green Bay is on the clock. I think that Jordan Love is going to be a great player. I know that um, the whole Aaron Rodgers fiasco isn't over, but I have a good feeling about Jordan Love. Was able to come in, sit, learn. The Patriots, I mean, the Packers do a really good job with development of players. They don't give up on players. They do a really good job with that. And we're gonna get Jordan Love a young target and Quentin Johnston. And now what they can do is because you got to remember with the Packers, right? Now it's LaFleur's team. He doesn't have to pretend like he likes Aaron Rodgers anymore. It's clear that was just a mess, right, guys? It was. And so now he could just call the offense how he wants to call the offense, and it's his thing. I think that they move Christian Watson into the slot as a full-time slot. That he was that fast. He did some good work against Dallas. I mean, his coming out party was against Dallas. And then you get Jordan Love, another weapon to say, Jordan, we're going to help you out. They got good running backs, Aaron Jones, Dylan. To me, this just screams like a Quentin Johnston pick. It could even be Zay Flowers, more of a route runner. Now, I'm going to say this about Quentin Johnston. I'm not as high on Quentin Johnston as everybody else. For him to be a big receiver, he doesn't always play that big. For him to be kind of like, supposed to be labeled as this um, physical guy specimen, he just doesn't always play as big as that I would want him to. He actually plays more like a finesse receiver, just in a big body, which is kind of scary to me. So, but I can see why this makes sense for Green Bay. Washington. Here's an area where you watch Hendon Hooker. I mean, I like Washington's D line. I mean, you should like their D line. They drafted 100 D linemen. They've drafted 100 D linemen every year. So you should. But to me, I don't know. Like Sam Howell's okay. Obviously, he beat Dallas, and he's in the locker room talking trash after the game. Cool. But I don't know if that makes sense with him at quarterback. This could be a place where Hendon Hooker comes off the board. But we're gonna draft the right way. We're just gonna get him a DB because I feel like they could use a DB. We never have problems moving the ball. So now Devin Witherspoon, he comes to the NFC East, and we just barbecue him for the next couple of years. Pittsburgh Steelers on the clock. They can go tackle. We know that they want to play defense. We know that they want to run the ball. So offensive line play, I'm sure, is at a premium. But let's give them Deontay Banks, Maryland kid, hometown hero. Now they're back in their world of just playing defense. We're getting closer to the Cowboys pick. Remember what I said? Detroit back on the clock. Tampa's coming up. And then Seattle's on the clock. So things are looking interesting. Now I know I said that I wanted to make the Lions a super defense, right? And they got Jalen Carter. What if they went back-to-back defensive players here? I think that could be really cool because again, their offense was really good last year. So I think they just need all the defensive help that they could get. They could go another edge. Obviously, you're not going to go two defensive tackles. They could prop guard is somewhere they could look at here as well. DB, because they did get rid of. What do we want to do for this other Lions pick, guys? Let me know. What are we doing for this Lions pick, y'all? See, I don't see them going Zay Flowers because they got JMO. They got Jameson Williams, who's, he's going to be a problem. Jameson Williams can play. They need a corner. Let's go corner. That's fine. Nolan Smith. Ooh, that's sneaky. Aiden Hudson on one side, Nolan Smith on another. That's a sneaky thought, Sin City. But we're not going to do that. We're going to go Emmanuel Forbes here. Let me look down a little bit. Oh, I love Cam Smith. I do. South Carolina corners are really good, y'all. They pan out in the league. They do. Let's go Emmanuel Forbes here. Undersized corner, plays bigger than what he is. The Bucks need a lot. It's just felt like a team that just got old right in front of your face. I don't know who's going to play quarterback in Tampa Bay. You guys help me out. Who's playing quarterback in Tampa Bay, guys? Tell me. Who's going to play quarterback for the Bucks? Do they draft a guy? Feels like maybe this is a spot where Hendon Hooker can come off the board. You guys like that? Get healthy, older guy, more mature guy. Definitely have Hendon Hooker over Tanner McKee. Hey, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, guys. I was watching some film on the UCLA guard, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson just was flying off my screen as far as just like the things he was able to do. Was just really impressed with him, and got to give Chip Kelly a lot of love for how he was able to use him. Really mobile guy, really strong arm. Not the biggest player, but really, really strong arm. Can make a lot of sense here. Do we want to go Hooker? Baker is there, but I mean, I don't think that Baker Mayfield is going to stop you from drafting a quarterback, y'all. Do we want to go Hooker? We're drafting Hendon Hooker. I love Hendon Hooker, y'all. I do. Get something to drink real quick. I love Hendon Hooker. I watched so much film on Tillman and watched so many defenses that have played against Tennessee. When you watched Hendon Hooker, man, can I say this, y'all? If Hendon Hooker is healthy, you may be talking about a top 10 pick. I truthfully believe that. Can make every throw. He's good enough as an athlete. He's good enough as an athlete. He's good enough as an athlete, y'all. Let me ask y'all this. Let's go for the question of the day. And people may not want to hear this. If Hooker gets to 26, would you guys draft him? And it's not to replace that. It's to say, hey, if you believe that the quarterback position is the most important position on the field, if you truthfully believe that, let's take a break for a second. The quarterback position is the most important position on the field. You say, last 3 years, Dak has had a little bit of injuries, and he's fine. He'll play for a long time. But if nothing else, you could draft him, trade him, or things don't work out. If Dak is, no, I'm not saying that things won't work out, but if he ever gets hurt, boop. I just love Hooker. And you guys could keep saying Hooker sucks in the chat, and that's fine. But we're not watching the same film. Hooker makes throws. Go watch that offense. Another thing is this. If you really watching film, you'll see Heupel has those splits in Africa, and he's making field throws on a dime. So I just want you guys to think about that. Hendon Hooker can play, and I'm going to stand on that. Hendon Hooker can play. If he doesn't step wrong and tear his knee up, okay, Seattle's on the clock. We're just going to draft a good player here with Seattle. Seattle, man, you just got to say, wow, right? what they were able to do in fleecing Denver for a again, not only is Pete Carroll's a good coach, but he also knew like, hey, man, Russell Wilson isn't what y'all think, Denver. Go ahead, take him. Boom. And so anyway, um, Seattle's defense can improve. They can get better. Let's get in Brian Brissy, just a good player. D line is now fortified and could have went Kalijah Cansey, but I'm not as high on Cansey as I am on Brissy. I just think the Brissy is a little bit better. Pick 21. The Chargers. Now the Chargers, Keenan Allen's getting a little long in the tooth. Do they want to upgrade Keenan Allen? Possibly. They could go linebacker. I think that Zay Flowers makes a lot of sense, Pat. Pat, you've been having some good talk here. Let's give the Chargers Zay Flowers. And I know that Cowboys fans will say, man, Foots, we taking away Zay. We're taking away Zay, guys. Zay's gonna he may even go before this. It just makes sense for the Chargers. This will probably be Keenan Allen's last year in, I was about to say San Diego, in LA. So let's go there. Okay. Baltimore just picked up Odell Beckham, who, by the way, I know people saw the money, but I think a lot of that stuff is incentives. Baltimore needs a lot, but I think that they need a corner, and this is a deep cornerback class. And John Harbaugh has spoken about corner a lot. I think that they could use a guy like Tariq Stevenson, who I don't know if I have him over Cam Smith, but I definitely like Stevenson. Julius Brents is a really good player. But let's get him Cam Smith. Outside of Marlon Humphreys, they still need help. So not saying they still need help, but they could use help there. Let's take a breath. Whew. Minnesota. Minnesota loses Adam Thielen. Do they go receiver here? They could. But is this where the first off-ball linebacker comes off the board? Minnesota's defense just seems like frauds too. Like, I get it, Harrison Smith and the whole nine, but they just don't have any names on that defense. I could be wrong, but they just don't have any names on that defense. That's just me. But somebody just made a good point that I like. What if Jordan Addison went here? Does Jordan Addison go here? Does Brian Branch go here? The interesting thing about Brian Branch is he instantly brings like attitude to your team. And that's why I like Brian Branch so much. I don't know if he's like a true free safety. I think he can play it. I just don't know if that's his best position in the NFL. What if they went Dalton Kincaid here? Obviously, they picked up TJ Hawkinson from the Lions, another first-round tight end who didn't really work out. But what if they said they wanted to double up? But let's go Kalijah Cansey here. Quick defensive lineman, get off the ball, get upfield, helps them in multiple ways. All right, Jacksonville, that offensive line kind of wasn't great in the playoffs. So I definitely can see them going offensive line here. What do we like for Jacksonville, guys? And we're 2 picks away from the Cowboys. What do we like for Jacksonville, y'all? You guys let me know. I'll let you guys make this pick. What are we doing for the Jacksonville Jaguars? What are we doing, guys? We're 2 picks away from the Cowboys, and we're going to get a good vote going to make sure that we get the right pick. And then we'll breeze through the rest. What are we doing for the Jacksonville Jaguars, y'all? You guys talk to me. Okay, seeing New Orleans in a dogfight, too. NBA's been really good. O-line, I like that, Albert. Hey, Albert Smith, I like that because, to me, if you're doing your homework on the O-line, and that's what I said, like, my guard, like, that's what I'm out on a Via in the first round because, like, look at this. This has been a good draft, right? Only O-lineman. This could happen. Only person who's went early is Skoronski, right? Oh, no. What was a few other linemen that went? Or no, just Skoronski. Yeah. And this could happen because the skills are really good. But then you go look at the board, and that's what I was talking about. That's what I was saying about like a Via. Like, I mean, I like Schmitz because you have Schmidt. I don't want Schmitz to play center in the league. Not day one. I want him to be a guard. So Schmitz has jumped over all of these guys, except maybe how you have Torrance graded. Let's go with Cyrus Torrance here. Florida kid going back to playing Florida in Jacksonville. Makes a lot of sense. All right. The Giants need a receiver to me. Um, but is this a place where the Giants may say that they have a player like Dalton Kincaid ranked higher than some of these receivers because of his receiving ability? He had a really good year last year, just catching the ball. Like that's what he's able to do. I was on talking to Sky about him. What are the Giants? What are they doing, guys? Are they going linemen? They're like the linemen that they've drafted really haven't worked out. I think the Kincaid makes sense. All right, guys. And the Dallas Cowboys are on the clock. So, what we're going to do with our pick is go through every position. And we're going to start with receiver. And we're just going to look and we're just going to talk. Like Jordan Addison, we got wiped out with some of our other guys. JSN, we got wiped out. Quentin, oh God, I always want to say Quentin Nelson. I hate that. Quentin Johnson, we got wiped out, which I wasn't really the biggest fan of his either. Anyway, and then Zay Flowers, we got wiped out. Like those are the three. Addison is interesting though, guys, because depending on how the board falls, if you're watching Pittsburgh's film, you say Addison can come in, play in the slot. He can play on the edge and he can learn from Brandon Cooks. You're not married to Brandon Cooks. I was watching a film on Brandon Cooks, by the way, guys. He separates really, really well. So that is yeah, they are. I agree, Patrick. Good observation, Patrick. Um Cooks and Addison, great route runners. I don't want Addison to have to be a one. I want him to be a really good Batman. But we need a receiver who can separate. That's what I like about Cooks. Cooks can separate and he can run. Addison can separate and he can run. He ran better at his pro day, and his film last year was better than the film this year. I got to give him that. Okay. Receivers. Got them checked off. Let's look at. I'm not looking at tight end. We're not doing that. We're not doing tight end on this channel. Running backs. There's only one answer here in the first round. That's Bijan Robinson. Y'all know how I feel about Bijan Robinson. I would take Bijan Robinson in a heartbeat and would not miss an ounce of sleep. Let's clear it. Let's go to tackles. Perry Johnson, I'm okay. Anton Harrison, I'm okay. And I like Harrison, but I'm okay because if he's here now, then he'll get pushed down. So I'm okay. DeJuan Jones, love him. I know that's Vacha's guy, but I'm okay. I'm okay there. I'm okay at tackle. Like Tyler Smith, you hold it down. I'm okay. I'm okay. Tranquilo, I'm okay. Don't like my DBs here, and I thought that this was stretched a little bit better. Keely Ringo, wow. And I think that he's rated higher than a bunch of these guys, but last year Keely Ringo was consensus number one coming in. And he just kind of fell out of favor because just so grabby and the testing was weird, to say the least. Ringo's testing was weird. So yeah, I'm cool there. Now interior offensive line. I'm okay. Unless he's there and you really want to have that talk. Chandler Zavala, by the way, is a really good player. Voorhees, obviously the injury has kicked him down. He's a really good player. And then Mafi is who I've been watching when I was watching Dorian Robinson. So, but I'm okay. I'm okay. I know you guys like Steve Avila, but Foots is okay. I'm good on them. Now, this is where it starts to get interesting. Because 1 and 2, I know that we love running back. I know we love running back. But we got to have a conversation here. Will McDonald and Nolan Smith are on the board. Guys, if you add Nolan Smith to your defense, I don't know, dog. Chat, listen to me. Look me in the eye. If you add, listen to me. Listen to me. We here? If you add Nolan Smith to this defense, whew, that's different. Like, and I like Will McDonald. I do. But Nolan Smith is different. And remember, I said he's one of those ones that could fall. So, chat box. Not like Will McDonald. But if you had Nolan Smith, so I think that we've come to the consensus where we wiped out DB first round grades, right? We're wiped out. What else we wiped out, I guess? We're wiped out interior O line first round grades. Now we're not wiped out completely, but interior O line first round grades. Safety, not looking at safety. We got some good safeties. Linebacker, you could talk about it. I wouldn't go Henley. I love Jack Campbell. I would actually go Jack Campbell way before Henley, and I would go Drew Sanders before them. And even Simpson, you could talk me into Trent Simpson because he is really physical. Just depends on how you look at Clemson athletes when they get to the league. Some are hit, some are miss. I'm cool on Overshown and Pace. I'm just not that big of a fan. I actually like Sewell and Tutu better than those guys. But off-ball linebacker, I'm cool. So it comes down to Nolan Smith, Bijan Robinson. Chat box, do your thing. Nolan Smith, Bijan Robinson. Hold on, Andrew. Hey, Andrew. Whoa. Andrew T, what up, homie? Ain't no stalling. What you mean? Stop stalling. Cat boy will want his running back. Hey, Andrew. We in the war room, Andrew. We got to talk this talk. What you mean? Andrew, everybody don't think like you. Maybe we want to be a historic defense. What we talking about? Thanks for watching, Andrew. I appreciate you, homie. Robinson, Nolan, come on, y'all. Get it up. Talk about it. Patrick, don't tell me you think, Patrick. You married to this pick because if this pick doesn't pan out, you're fired, Patrick. Who do you want? Who do we want? Come on, guys, let's go. This is and this look this Jim Law says Campbell. Wow, I love this fan base. You know, it's interesting because, and I'm about to make the pick, guys. I see where we are with it. I see the numbers that we've gotten, and I appreciate it. Wow, look at April. April talking her talk. Guys, believe this or not, we're gonna draft Nolan Smith with Bijan on the board, and that's called smart drafting. And the reason why that's called smart drafting, and we'll go ahead and get in Brian Branch. That's just such a Bills pick. It just makes sense. The Bengals could flip a coin and draft any tackle. We're gonna get back to Nolan Smith. Don't worry about it. I just want to finish this draft out. They could draft any tackle and it'll be okay. We're gonna get back to the reason why we're going Nolan Smith. You know what? I like the Saints going Mozzie. Physical defense. Get after the quarterback. Ooh, it's gonna be scary the way that what Philly could come back with. Man, they need an off-ball linebacker. I don't like Philly's linebacker. They need a Henley here, and then let's give them Jordan Addison. This feels like a Jordan Addison pick, especially with them losing Juju. Okay, guys, what a great exercise, by the way. Everybody clap it up for themselves, and let's talk about the Nolan Smith pick, right? Let's talk about the Nolan Smith pick. So Let's go back to Dallas's pick. Nolan Smith. The Cowboys get Nolan Smith. Everybody clap it up. Can we get clap emoji, please? Can we get clap emoji, please, y'all? Please. Can we get clap emoji, please? Clap emoji for the chat box. What a great show. Wow. Rebel, you said it. Doing this mock, actually, what I'm about to go do is go watch some more Nolan film. Isn't that crazy? So the reason why you draft Nolan Smith is for one player, one person. One person is Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn, and that's just the type of coach that Mike McCarthy is. He understands like the brand of football that we want to play. We'll draft a running back. They'll draft a running back in the next 2 rounds. But the brand of football that we want to play, we want to play fast, physical football. We want to get after the quarterback. There were times last year where it was Mike or bust. We just didn't have enough juice getting after the quarterback at times. And the Cowboys play style defense against San Francisco, but their juice is important. Juice is important. He can play off ball. He can play all over the defense. But the biggest thing is on third down, now you can rush. You can rush. Like, you can rush, y'all. You can rush. And I think that's one of the bigger things to keep in mind. If you don't go running back early, guys, you can still get a running back that is going to help your team. It may not be Bijan Robinson. We just got rid of Ezekiel Elliott, who was a first round running back. And everybody say you never get a first round running back and all this type of stuff. So I get it. But now you have a D line and athletes on the defense. We gotta remember, guys. Nolan Smith runs a 4.39. Hello, is this thing on? And he plays like a 4.39 athlete. I was on with Sky, and I think one of the biggest things that people don't understand about Nolan Smith is just how well he plays against the run and how physical he is. So, like with Nolan, I know that the running back, and this exercise is like that because this could very well happen. But like, if you're telling me I'm getting a poor man's, Will Anderson Jr., then sign me up. Sign me up. We still have a lot of draft to go too, y'all. That's the beautiful thing about it. So we got to marry the proper picks, and that's all I'm saying. Guys, what a time we had. An hour, and it's just me for the lover and you. It was just me. We just talking, having fun. What a great draft. I hope you guys can send this around to people. The Dallas Cowboys drafted Nolan Smith, pick 26, and I will feel good about it. Thank you guys so much for rocking with me. Thank you guys for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I'm going to have. I think I want to do this again next week, and we'll do. I want to keep doing this exercise with y'all. I want to keep doing this exercise with y'all. Yeah, I agree with you, the Reaper. I know that everybody likes Avila, but I'm just not as high on Steve Avila as everybody else, and that's just mean if Dallas drafts him, I'll make it make sense, and we'll talk about it. So don't hold my feet to the fire. I just don't see it, and if they do, I would love for it to be in a trade back situation because I don't think the rest of the NFL is as high on Steve Avila as everybody else. But anyway, I say all this to say we're gonna do this next week again, y'all. I'm gonna do rankings tomorrow, linebacker rankings, which should be very fun. Very, very fun. But again, what a time to hang with y'all tonight. This was fun. Everybody, please pound the like button. Thank you all for liking, sharing, and subscribing. It's your boy Foots as always. Send this video around, y'all. Please send this video around. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Foots the King. Thank you guys so much. Send this video around, y'all. 32 team mock. How did these teams affect the draft? Hendon Hooker going earlier, some surprise picks going earlier, push good players like Nolan Smith down the board. So that was the name of this video, and it was dope. It's your boy Foots. Peace.